Hello lovely people and welcome back. So if you've been following me on this channel, you will notice that we have been on a series on how to make a playsuit, and today's video is all about making it with your freehand method. Yes, we've talked about the pattern drafting aspect. Now let's see how to make this playsuit using your freehand method and getting accurate results also. So right here I folded my fabric. I like to work with the particular amount of fabric I want to make use of. Okay, so I folded the fabric on the amount I want to work with. So I used the lap measurement divided by 2 to get this width that you are seeing right here. So the lap measurement that I'm working with, the normal body measurement was supposed to be 25. I added extra 2 inches for ease to that 25 inches to get 27, and dividing that amount we have 13 and half. So 13 and half is the measurement I'll be using all around the lap. Okay, then at the end of the day I'll be having a total ease of 2 inches at the end of the day. So I'm marking that point. Now I'm adding extra 1/4 of an inch for seam allowance. Remember that the front and the back for your pants should be unequal. So I'm using that 1/4 to create the difference. Okay, I'm going to use the 1/4 to create the difference. So I'm still trying to look for my square. Okay, so if I do that, I'm going to be having a total of 14 inches. 13 and half was what I got before for the lap. Adding extra half inch, 1/4 for the inseam and 1/4 for the outer seam will give me half inch. So I'm working with 14 inches for the total. So you can see I've ruled my margin, very important, and that margin becomes my waistline. Now I'm taking out 1 inch. You can see I'm taking out 1 inch to give to the band. So 1 inch will come from the pant area, while another 1 inch will come from the upper bodies. Okay, so we're using 1 inch or taking away 1 inch before we do our marking. Okay, as you can see, I am looking for my crotch line. That's my crotch line, and I added extra 2 inches to create enough ease. Okay, I'm not working with the initially marked, and this becomes my crotch line. So now I'm going to look for my hip line. Okay, taking away my 1 inch, I'll look for my hip line, and there it is. All right, now we're going to look for the total length. So the total length we're going to work with for this dress is 38 inches. So measuring all the way from my shoulder, I'll put my tape on the waistline, indicating my waist measurement, which is 17 inches. Then from there I'll look for my point. So 38, then adding extra 2 inches, I have 40. Then I'll square that line up. So we have looked for all our points. We have the waistline, we have the hip line, we have the crotch line, and the total length line, that's the hem line. Now let's get into work by putting in our measurements. The point we want to start with is our crotch line. We're going to start from our crotch line. So on the crotch line now, I'm going to take the measurements. Remember, the measurement we used to look for the square we want to work with is 14 inches total, right? So it's supposed to be 13 and half, but we added extra half inch. Then 1/4 will go to the inseam and to the side seam. So I'm adding that 1/4 there. Then from there, I am going to measure 2 inches inward. Okay, from there I'll measure 2 inches inward like so to find my curve. So whatever I got at that point, I'm going to take it up to the waistline and square up my line. Okay, then I'll come up by 2 inches at that point. You can see I'll come up by 2 inches to create a guideline to find my curve like so. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do now is to check for our hip measurements, and our hip measurement for this particular dress is 42 inches divided by 2. We have 10 and half inches. So we're going to add ease by adding ease of half inch to that. So whatever I have there, I'm going to take it up to the waistline because I want to use elastic on the waistline, so it will not be a fitted Playsuit on the waistline. So if you want yours to fit, kindly mark your waist measurement on the waistline. Okay, I'm using the hip there because I want fullness at that point. So I'm squaring up that line now. Square up the line. So now we'll come to the downside. So whatever I have on the crotch line, okay, the total measurement there, I'm going to bring it down to the hem line there. I'll crease my tape to look for the midpoint. This midpoint will help my pants to stay centralized, okay? It will stay centralized and it won't be moving up and down towards the front or so. So whatever I have for my measurement, I'll divide it by 2, place the creased part of my tape at the midpoint, mark towards my inseam and mark towards my side seam. Also, I'm going to add 1/4. Okay, I'll add 1/4 to the inseam and also add 1/4 to the side seam. This 1/4 will help me to create difference between my front and my back. Okay, to create difference between my front and my back. So right here, I want to create the slant on my waistline. So on the side seam on my waistline, I'm coming up by 1/2 inch. I'll connect it all the way down to the center front, like so. At this point, we are done. Yeah, we are almost done. So the next thing we're going to do now is to throw our tape. I'm throwing my tape to make sure that these measurements that I have on the fabric, they are correct. You know, we are not doing pattern drafting right now. So whenever you are marking on your fabric, make sure to measure twice so you'll be sure. Okay, so right now we're going to cut out the fabric. We're going to cut out the markings that we've done. So just follow me through and you get it all right. So but before we continue, I didn't add seam allowance on my center front, so I'm going to do that now. So I'm adding seam allowance of 1/2 inch. Yes, when it comes to marking on your fabric, adding seam allowance is very, very important. Adding ease and seam allowance should be one thing that is conscious of you. You should always stay conscious of adding seam allowance or adding ease and checking your measurements over and over again. So right here we are cutting. I'm still cutting. Just follow me through. So I'm cutting down to the hem line. So when I get to the hem line, I am going to through that point by folding in my allowance. Okay, I'll fold in the allowance to through my fabric. Throwing your fabric allows you not to run short of the fabric when you sew. Yeah, that's basically what truing helps you to do. So at this point we are done, as you can see, and I have my seam allowance and I have my hem allowance all through. Now let's see how to make the back. See you in the next video.